I've been with my wife for over 2 years and I've been married for over a year, and we've had an extremely happy relationship, an extremely loving and fulfilling relationship, but it hasn't always been that way. That was my first ever long-term relationship that I'd ever been in my life, and just like doing anything else for the first time, there were a lot of mistakes that I made that almost destroyed my relationship before it really got started good. I had a lot of internal insecurities and struggles that until I was able to overcome them, it held me back a lot in how much I felt fulfilled in my love towards my woman and eventually my relationship and my marriage. So if I can pull you aside while you're still in that early stage and show you some things that you can do differently in order to have like a really loving and fulfilling and happy relationship. And this is for a guy who is already in a relationship and you're kind of struggling right now. This video is for you. These are the things that I personally did to develop and cultivate a super happy, loving, and fulfilling relationship. And if you just can follow this advice, even if it hurts your feelings and even if it causes you to make some changes and reevaluate your life, if you can commit to applying them, then at least in your love life, you're going to have a very fulfilling time and very fulfilling relationship. So the first thing that you need to understand is that in this world, dating is a competition, and that at any time you can lose your woman because it's not guaranteed. So I've seen, and this is a story that happened to me personally. I remember at one point first getting into a relationship with my now wife, which was over 2 years ago. We were having a really good time at first. All the time we were going out on dates, we were going out to dinner, we were going out drinking, we were staying out late, we were getting all the sweet treats and the desserts and just having a good old time together. The problem with that is it made me lose sight of my goals temporarily. I, at one point, was so consumed with spending time with my girl, making her happy, going out together, that eventually I stopped working on myself to the extent that I needed to. When I first met my girl, I was going to the gym a lot. I was thinking about my future, building a business, working on myself. And once I started dating seriously, a lot of those things either slowed down or stopped. Ultimately, that's because I was so consumed with spending time with her that I lost sight of that. Now, once that happened, she started to lose attraction to what drew her towards me in the first place. So what'll happens a lot of time to guys is they will be really hard working on themselves to attract a girl. They'll get into a relationship and then they'll get complacent. And then that will cause them to lose attraction to their girl. And then if they don't change that, then they lose everything. So the first piece of advice and the first thing that you need to understand is even through the honeymoon phase where all you want to do is spend time with your girl, you have to be disciplined and set standards and boundaries and routines for yourself. Because if you don't do this, you're already setting yourself up for failure. Because you have to remember, there's always going to be a guy out there that wants your girl. There's always going to be a guy out there with more money, more status, better physique, whatever, right? And not to say that that your girl is going to get taken away, but if you keep it in the back of your mind that your relationship with her isn't guaranteed just because you got her, will actually take you a long way towards developing the relationship more and more and more towards the future and keeping her happy. So if you can understand this just to start with, you will not fail. The second point that I want you to know is that if your relationship is struggling, most likely it is your fault. Now, that's harsh to say, and if your first instinct is like, oh well, what about my girl? You know, she's doing this and this, and she's not doing what she's supposed to do, and like, I get that, but this video is for guys. This video is for the guys. So as men, we are the leaders in our relationship. So our girl could be doing whatever, but if our relationship isn't good, we have to evaluate how we can take responsibility for that. And more often than not, if a relationship is in a bad place, it starts with the man, because men are the ones who are leaders emotionally and mentally and set the tone for your relationship. So in my relationship, I set the tone. In my life, as it's normal to have ups and downs in your mood, in your mentality, in your mindset, but I also noticed that the overall morale of my relationship would follow the ups and downs of my mental and physical and spiritual and emotional well-being. I had to realize that I need to do what I need to do to take care of myself before anything else, because there's a saying that says you can't take care of anybody if you can't take care of yourself. So I've seen far too often, and in my own personal experience, where we will go through periods of really bad mental health because we're not doing the things that we need to do to take care of ourselves, and that will negatively drag down our relationship. But because a lot of times when you're kind of just wrapped up in your own head and your own problems, all you really see is what's going on outside, and you're not really focused on what's going on internally. So you'll notice, like, all of a sudden your girl's mood changes and she starts being more distant and acting like a bitch and this and that, and like you might look at her and say, you know, why is she acting like that? But in reality, you're not setting the tone for a happy relationship. So what I personally did to ensure that I can make it not my fault whenever something goes wrong in the relationship is to set the tone. And what I mean by setting the tone in the relationship is to understand that having this mindset that you dictate where the relationship goes long term, because in most relationships the man is the leader. So in my life, I, along with my wife, you know, I kind of made the decision in terms of what I wanted to do and where I wanted to go with my life and how I wanted to go there. So I did a lot of work on my own mental health. I would fix things that I didn't like about myself. I would have difficult conversations. A lot of times you know what you need to do in order to fix your own mental health, but a lot of people just ignore it, right? And if at any time you feel like you want any personal help with that, if you click on the link in the description, you can actually book a discovery call with me for free, and we can sit down and talk about your relationship and see what is holding you back from improving in that area. And if it makes sense to you, you can join my program, and I can personally guarantee that like you improve the quality of your relationships, because I've done it before. So with that being said, the next thing I want to talk about is to never lose your edge as a man. This is a brutal, difficult truth that, again, a lot of men learn too late in the relationship. So to go back to what I was saying earlier, far too often guys will get into a relationship with a girl and they'll just get too comfortable, because this has happened to me like a lot. I would get too comfortable. I would make promises to myself and then I would break them, because spending time with my girl is like so enjoyable that it's kind of like when you eat candy but you eat too much of it, and you know you make your stomach hurt and you fuck up your mental, right? It's the same thing. If you can realize that as a man, if you get too comfortable with your girl, you will lose that comfort long term. Because early on in my relationship, a short time before we got married, I had gone through this period of time where my health was like really badly going down, and it's because I just wasn't taking care of myself. Because all I would do is I would wake up, I would go to my job, and then I would just hang out for the rest of the time. That's all I did. You know, I wasn't studying, I wasn't working on a business, I wasn't doing nothing outside of that. I wasn't working out, I wasn't setting goals, I wasn't making plans for the future. And throughout time, we've changed that. So not only am I happily married, while also spending less time with my wife than I used to, my marriage is happier. And that's because I've fit other things into my life besides just hanging out and spending time with my woman. Because of course I do, right? We go somewhere every weekend. We go to church on Sundays. We spend our mornings and our evenings together. But you know, she's not the center of my world anymore. And that's been better for both of us, genuinely, because that time that I've spared by taking a step back in terms of the physical time that I've spent, I've devoted it towards building a business. I've devoted it towards studying. I've devoted it towards making a plan for like my finances, you know, sitting down and making a budget, figuring out how much money is coming in, how much money is going out, like how can I build up my money, like can I take out a loan, what's my credit looking like. These are things that I never thought about really before, because again, this is my first long-term relationship and my first time being married, of course. And like when you're doing something for the first time, a lot of times you don't know what little things that you have to manage in your life until you've already gotten into it. And so if you can just learn to never lose your edge as a man, always make sure that you're committed to your physical fitness, make sure that you're committed to like building the future. Even if you have a 9-to-5 job, like right now I'm starting work in like 45 minutes, but I decided, you know what, I'm not gonna be lazy. I'm just gonna go make a video because this video could build my life in the future. And it's things like that. And you just do that day in, day out. That will build up your life. And if you can build your life in that way, you'll feel more fulfilled with your own personal self, and you'll have more internal confidence, which in turn will make your relationship better. And so if you can really understand that, you understand the concept of like not getting complacent, not getting comfortable, it will go such a long way with your relationship, because so many guys will do the same thing, right? They'll attract a girl and then they'll change their whole selves to like fit into the girl's life. But in reality, it should be the other way around. She should be fitting into your life because you're the man, you set the tone. So again, if you understand that, you will not fail in your relationship. The next thing I want to talk about is to give your woman a stage. So before you like get lost with me, she's not an actor, right? But when I say give her a stage, essentially it's my terminology for saying that you need to give your woman a place to freely express herself. Because far too often men will make the mistake of thinking that anytime their woman has a grief about something, if they're upset about something, if they're complaining about something, a lot of times you will view it as a personal attack on yourself, right? That is a mistake. And it's a mistake that I have fallen for personally throughout my time in my relationship. There used to be times in the past where my wife would be upset about something and I would be butthurt and take it personally. That's a mistake. You do not take what your woman says personally. You give her a stage. So you allow her to express herself freely without repercussion, without fighting or yelling back, or without any kind of punishment at all. My wife knows that she can say whatever she wants to me without any repercussions at all. As long as it's in the privacy and in the safety of our house, she can say whatever, she can do whatever, and she's not going to feel any kind of retaliation or wrath or anger towards me. This has caused my woman to feel really safe in her relationship with me and in our household together. And again, this is something that, you know, this could be brutal. This is brutally honest advice, because so many of you are doing this wrong, and you're probably doing this wrong too. You are probably not as good as you could be at de-arming and defusing your woman's anger and her anxiety and her stress, because as a man, and whenever you're in a relationship with a woman, there's the yin and the yang, right? You and her are kind of opposite people. Men typically are a lot more grounded and even toned with their emotions, because we have the ability to take our emotions and kind of compartmentalize it, right? You can take your emotions, set it aside, and be like, this is how I'm going to react to the situation. You have especially if you're like a more superior developed man, you can really have a good grasp on your emotions. Women express their emotions differently because women have such a stronger and deeper connection to their intuition and their emotions that they can't hold in their emotions like we can. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. So women need a safe place to express themselves freely. They need to be able to be their truest self. Now, if you've really done a good job in the relationship, she's going to tell you things that she's never told you before. You're going to see a side to her that nobody else sees. If you can do that, if you can manage to do that, you've won. Because what I do is like, and if this is something that, you know, you might have been struggling with in your relationship, I want you right now to go and sit your girl down and tell her this, right? Tell her exactly what I'm about to tell you. Be like, look, I love you and I want you to feel heard. I want you to feel seen and I want you to feel understood in this relationship. I want you to understand that if there's ever anything in your heart, on your mind that you feel like you need to say, you can say it right here. I want you to feel safe with me. Whatever you say to me, I'm not gonna get angry. I'm not gonna blow up at you. I'm not gonna think that you're stupid or that you're a bitch or that you're a complainer or whatever. I want you to be able to say it openly right here. If you can manage to like sit your woman down, like look her deep in the eyes, be completely focused, and when you say that, that will unlock another level of your relationship that you might not have right now. And even that's even a recurring thing. Like even just a day or two ago, I said that to my wife. I looked her deep in the face and I'm like, look, baby, I want to remind you, like, I love you. I care about you, right? I want your mind to be good. If there's anything you need to say, if you need to vent to me, if you need something, if there's something you want to tell me, if there's something on your heart, please know I'm here for you. I'm here to listen to you because you're my partner and I want you to grow because I love you. You say that, bro, you're good. The last thing that I want to talk to you about, because if you've so far followed all these different things, I promise you, your relationship will go to another level. I've personally experienced this in my life, and I've seen other people and the mistakes that they've made, and I've also seen really good relationships. They all do these same things to be successful. If you can just try your best to apply these different things to your life, then you'll be good. But the last thing is to not play any games with your woman. So I've seen a lot of kind of immature guys, honestly, especially early on in the relationship. So for example, if you're just starting to talk to someone and you listen to these like red pill pickup artists and they're like, well, don't text her back for 3 hours to make her miss you and stuff like that. Just know that if you have any of these like psychological mind tricks that will cause women to fall in love with you, right? If you follow any of that bullshit, like your relationship genuinely will suck. Because I remember being a teenager, right? I remember 2017, just graduating high school. Like, holy fuck, I'm old. But I remember just graduating in high school and I really wanted like a girlfriend. I was thinking about going to college and, you know, I was out of high school. I was a grown up now. I wanted to really have like a serious girlfriend. And I just was really awkward and I had a lot of trouble with girls, right? And so I would go online and I would look up like how to get girls, you know, like every teenage guy does. And I was met with all of the like the pickup artist, the red pill, all that bullshit where they're like, yeah, if you get her number, like don't text her for 24 hours so that she thinks about you. And all of it sucks. If you are getting into a relationship with someone, there's no games. She needs peace, she needs stability, and she needs to know that you're like responsible and that you're genuinely invested. This is not the era for nonchalant men at all. If you're nonchalant, like you have to stop that shit. You have to stop pretending like you don't care because you do care. If you're watching a video like this, especially 19 minutes into the video, like you're watching this stuff because you want love. That's not gonna turn off your girl. She wants you to want love. She wants to be loved. She wants attention, of course, but not too much, which is where that red pill stuff comes from, right? Is guys giving girls too much attention. But ultimately, at the end of the day, if you can understand this, you'll have a lot of success. Because if you can just be very upfront and intentional about what you're looking to do in the relationship, that will go a long way. Because it'll either grow your relationship or it'll make you guys realize that like you're not good for each other. Either result is okay, but don't play games, because your woman deserves somebody that, again, is pure in their intentions, pure in their motives. Because if you can do that, again, you're not gonna fail. I've been in a happy relationship for over 2 years, and I'll tell you, there is nothing better than having someone that genuinely loves you, that understands you, that you feel like you can take on the world with. Like, genuinely, I feel like there's nothing that I can't do, because I'm always gonna have somebody at the end of the day to come home to that's gonna lift me up, that's gonna support me. And I feel so much fulfillment and passion and purpose by having someone to take care of, by having somebody to pour my heart into, my love into. But in order to stay with someone long enough to grow that level of connection, you have to not fall into the common traps and pitfalls that men do, which is why I'm making this kind of content. And if you watch this content and you like more of it and you feel like I can help you, because if you've watched this so far in the video, like, you know I can help you. Click the link in the description below to book a free discovery call with me. Like, we can talk about your relationship. We can talk about what's holding you back from growing in your relationship. And you can join my premium program where I can take you through the process, like personally tailored advice just for you. And you can guarantee yourself that kind of success that you want in your life. So click the link in the description below, and I'll catch you in the next one. I appreciate your time and thank you for watching. Thank you. Bye.